Woo! What's going on, guys? Orms Form coming at you guys. We have another video, and today's video is the aftermath of the Lions at the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field. I know I'm a couple days late with this one. Couldn't get it out yesterday, but the Lions did win a big one, 34-20 at Lambeau in Green Bay. Absolutely decimated that team. Lions go up to 3-1, 3-1, first place in the North, and Green Bay Packers fall to second at 2 wins, 2 losses. Total domination, pretty much from start to finish. Goff did have a pick there right away, and it was like, uh-oh. But then after that, they settled in. Defense played fantastic again, 2 games in a row. Guys were hurt, though. There was injuries, for the Packers. We had some guys out as well. But the Packers were missing a lot of players. They walked right in the Lambeau, put a whooping on those cheeseheads. Now let's talk about the injuries. We start with the Lions first because they're the road team. DB, I'm going to call him a DB now. I'm sick of calling him a safety, nickel cornerback. Just call him DB, Brian Branch. Had an ankle injury, got hurt in the third quarter. Then he returned. I know, he was pretty much carted off, came back, wrapped up his ankle, and returned. And got hurt again. And then he got hurt again. I forget, he was trying to plan, he was trying to set up to make a tackle, got kind of juked. Kind of got juked out of it and dropped again. And I don't know why he even came back. Test did come out negative though. It looks like it's an ankle. I was really hoping it wasn't an Achilles. That would have been absolutely ridiculous. But I don't think they ever would have let him come back. But the turf monster took him and he went down. And then quarterback Chase Lucas had an illness. He left the game later on as well. And the Packers, tight end Luke Musgrave, the rookie tight end, had a concussion. He left the game. Cornerback Jair Alexander had a back. Left guard Elton Jenkins knee. Left tackle David Bakhtiari, who they put on IR. They're going to miss the next 3-4 games. Had a knee injury, and those guys missed the game as well. Those guys didn't even start in the games. But the only real weapon they lost during that game, or player, was the Packers, was tight end Luke Musgrave, a guy that I was worried about. And he had a concussion, so he never came back. But, next man up mentality. All I keep hearing all week now, arguing with some guy on Facebook, some Packers fans telling me that their losses were more significant, like their players getting injured were more significant than ours, tallying up Pro Bowls and all that and all pros. I'm like, I don't really care about all pros, Pro Bowls. You had some starters out, we had some key starters out as well, and we still kicked your asses up and down the field for pretty much, I'd say 3.5 quarters, because that third quarter was a little bit weird, but we'll get to that as well too. But let's start the stats. We start with the Lions because they were the road team. Quarterback Jared Goff was 19 for 28, 67% completion percentage, 210 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, sacked twice, hit a couple times. Him too throwing at the end of the game was a little bit weird too. I thought they were up 14 points and they were still trying to throw the ball, and then he got hit, and then Goff got hit a couple times, and I was like, why are you trying to throw the football? I was like, what the hell are they doing? And Goff came up limping at one point, a little bit shooken up. So don't know why they did that. A couple of things that I thought was a great called game by the Lions. Don't get me wrong, but there was a couple of things that they did in that game were a little bit puzzling. So got like a hair there, right there. So I had to get that out of there. But yeah, man, it was just it was a great game, but a couple got to be carefuls right there for the Lions. But Goff was efficient, had a nice completion percentage, only threw 1 touchdown, but he did well. Rushing the ball, running back David Montgomery was an absolute horse. He was kind of a GTD, game time decision. He said he was playing no matter what, though. He was 32 for 121 yards, 3 touchdowns out of 3.8 yards per carry. He was just a monster. Rushed the ball a lot of times coming off that thigh injury. He was looking good. He just looked really good. Wide receiver Khalif Raymond had 1 rush for 40 yards on a nice little trick play, some trickery, 40 yards average. Running back Jahmyr Gibbs, a rookie out of Alabama, had 8 carries for 40 yards on 5 yards per carry, which is impressive. And then quarterback Jared Goff, man, he carried the ball twice for 10 yards, had a 1 nice first down run too. We saw that nobody was really open on the right-hand side. No one was open in the middle. He saw that the left was wide open. Good vision by Goff. Just took off. Tried to actually get in the end zone, but he got tackled. But it was a smart heads up play by Jared Goff. 211 yards total for the Lions on the ground. Again, I was told by a Packers fan that Packers don't give up a lot on the ground. So, two teams have exposed you so far: Atlanta and the Lions. They've exposed your run defense. If you want to go back to Chicago and you want to go back to the Saints game, that's fine. Saints game, you were going up against fourth, fifth round rookie and Kendra Miller, and then Tony Jones Jr. So don't come at me with that. And then the Chicago game, they don't know what they are. They don't know if they're a running team throwing the ball. That organization's an absolute mess. So you've been exposed by two teams that run the ball and don't hide the fact that they want to run the football. So good luck with that. And then receiving, wide receiver Josh Reynolds had a nice bounce back game, 3 catches for 69 yards on 23 yards per catch, 6 targets. So Goff was looking for him. Wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown, 5 catches for 56 yards and a touchdown, 11.2 yards per catch, 7 targets. Told too by a Lions fan too that Amon-Ra St. Brown is not a budding superstar. It's absolutely crazy on Facebook with these guys, man, and they get to me, and you know what I mean. I can't help myself. I wear my emotions on my sleeve. So Amon-Ra St. Brown is not a budding superstar because he's just a slot guy. The guy even compared him to Danny Amendola. He actually said he was just as good or worse than Danny Amendola. I don't know where these people come from. That guy's a troll though. And then tight end Sam Laporta, the rookie, 4 catches, 56 yards, efficient, 14 yards per catch on 5 targets. Running back David Montgomery had a couple catches for 20 yards as well on 10 yards per catch on 2 targets. Then running back Jahmyr Gibbs, the rookie out of Alabama, had 4 catches, only for 11 yards. They got to figure out a way to get him going on 2.8 yards per catch. They got to give him the ball downfield. They're just dumping the ball off to him. Run him a route, run him a 10, 15-yard route. Get him out in the open, see what can happen. But I don't know. And then on 5 targets. Then Patterson hit 2 field goals, 37 was his long, and 4 extra points. So Patterson was good again. Then the defense, they played excellent again. DB Brian Branch, rookie, had 7 tackles, couple pass deflects, couple stuffs. He played really well again, man. He played so good. Quarterback Jerry Jacobs, 5 tackles, 2 interceptions. Had a couple big ones. And one was tip ball by Alex Anzalone. That was really nice awareness by Jacobs. And one was deeper into Lions territory. It was pretty much almost a red zone interception, it felt like. I think it was. And he had a nice bounce back game. He really did. He let up a couple passes, but he had a nice bounce back game. And linebacker Alex Anzalone had 5 tackles. Defensive end John Kaminsky, 5 tackles and a sack. Linebacker Derek Barnes, 6 tackles. He was all over the field too as well. He got dinged up a little bit too there. Safety Tracy Walker, 4 tackles and a 1 forced fumble. They didn't get the fumble recovery though. And then defensive end Aiden Hutchinson had 2 tackles, 1.5 sacks. He was a problem all night for whoever was trying to block him, a tackle, a guard. 2 guys, 1 guy. He was a force all night. Defensive tackle Lee McNeil, 2 good games in a row, 2 tackles and a sack again. Isaiah Buggs had a tackle and a sack, the second sack of his career actually. Not known for it, but he got in there. 5 sacks on the day, couple picks. Turnovers are huge, sacks are big. So the defense played well. And then Packers, their offense quarterback Jordan Love was 23 for 36, 63% completion percentage. Is obviously short. He hasn't started much, but this is his first year starting. Best starting game I think he had, completion percentage wise, 63%. So that's good for him. And then 246 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions, sacked 5 times. He didn't seem like he was too bad. He's I don't think, I'm not sure I can't tell you what he really is right now. Jordan Love just off one game. I did rewatch that Saints and Packers game. That Saints and Packers game, yes, where the Saints lost that game and the Packers came back to win it. Packers wide receiver bailed that kid out like I've never seen before. They were making diving, miraculous catches. Packers wide receivers, bailing him out of that game. And I don't really know what to make of Jordan Love right now. He seemed like a guy that if you get to him, he seems like a guy that kind of gets in his head a bit. Remember, he's not a rookie, but he's only a first-year starter. So, I still can't tell you my thoughts completely on him, but he didn't look bad and he didn't look good, I thought, on a couple throws. He missed a couple throws. He doesn't have a crazy good arm, but he can throw the deep ball. So, the judge is still, the jury's still, the judge and jury, whatever you want to call it, still kind of out on that kid. Don't really know what to think of him. And then rushing. Running back Aaron Jones, 5 carries for 18 yards and 3.8 yards per carry. He was limited. Snaps were limited. Running back AJ Dillon, 5 carries for 11 yards, 2.2 yards per rush. And then quarterback Jordan Love had 2 carries for -2. 2 weeks in a row now, the Lions have stopped mobile quarterback. I want to say that Jordan Love is a running quarterback. He's not, but he's capable of making plays outside the pocket. So is Ritter from the Falcons. Didn't do much. And Jordan Love did nothing. So 27 yards overall. Again, a great performance by the defense of the Detroit Lions. And receiving wide receiver Romeo Doubs was one of the guys I was really worried about because I didn't know if Watson was going to play. He had 9 catches for 95 yards, 10.5 yards per catch. And Love was looking for him. He targeted him 13 times. Wide receiver Jayden Reed, the rookie out of Michigan State, 3 catches, 55 yards, 18.3 yards per catch, 5 targets. Tight end Josh DeGuara, 4 catches, 34 yards, 8.5 yards per reception. Targeted 4 times, completed 4 times. And again, tight end Tucker Kraft, the rookie tight end, got a little more playing time when what's his name went out. The heck's the kid's name? Who went out for Luke Musgrave. Sorry, guys. When Luke Musgrave went out for the Packers, Tucker Kraft kind of stepped in. But he only had 2 catches, 5 yards, 2 targets. So, 6 targets to the tight ends pretty much, and 6 completions. Lions are struggling with the tight ends. Just struggling. And then Christian Watson did play, but he was on a snap count. 2 catches, 25 yards. He did have a touchdown, though. 12.5 yards per catch on 4 targets, but he was limited. So, that happens. And then their defense, then Anders Carlson hit 2 field goals for them. And then their defense, linebacker Quay Walker was an animal on the field. He had like 19 tackles. He was all over the place. Made a really stupid penalty at the end of that game. Well, pretty much was it late in the third, early fourth. He jumped the line when the Lions were kicking a field goal. He jumped over the line. Like, that's a high school thing. You're not allowed to do that. You've never been really allowed to do that. Hurdled the line, gave the Lions a first down, and then eventually they scored a touchdown with another Montgomery score. So put the game out of reach. But just a dumb penalty by Quay Walker. And he's such a good player. But the kid doesn't think. And he's so talented, but man, that only goes so far. They're not getting rid of the guy or anything like that, but my God, the kid's got to grow up. And then safety Rudy Ford had 8 tackles and a pick. Linebacker edge Preston Smith had 5 tackles. Linebacker edge Kingsley Enagbari had 5 tackles. Linebacker Isaiah McDuffie, who got the start because they had another guy out. I forget who was out though. He had 7 tackles. Who was the linebacker that was out for the defense for the Packers? He was kind of banged up. He was kind of banged up, man. I can't remember. I can't remember his name, but he was on the injury report. Kenny Clark? No, Kenny Clark's a defensive end. Where's his name? See, I write this stuff down, and then I forget where it is. But yeah, they had a Devondre Campbell. That's what it just popped in my head. Like, boom. Man, losing my mind. Isaiah McDuffie got to start, 7 tackles, and then safety Darnell Savage 5 tackles as well. D lineman Devontae Wyatt, young kid out of Georgia, 4 tackles and a sack. And then D lineman Carl Brooks with 2 tackles and a sack as well. Goff was sacked a couple times, and hit a couple times too. But the O-line played well for the Lions. And let's talk a little bit of Lions offense. They obviously wanted to run the football. They rushed the ball over 40-something times. It was crazy with 32 rushes coming from Montgomery alone, and then another 8 from Gibbs, Goff a couple times, Raymond, this guy, that guy. They obviously wanted to run the football, and Goff dropped back 28 times, probably one of his lowest totals right there of the year. They obviously wanted to run a football because that's what they want to do, and the Packers aren't great against the run. And they ran well, over 211 total yards. They did really well, scored a lot of touchdowns on the ground, got within field goal range a couple times, and played good, efficient football on offense. Really nice, efficient football on offense. And then the defense. Defense, I thought, stepped up really well. They had that team at like minus yardage. They had the Packers at minus yardage up until like a little bit in the second quarter left. Then eventually, Jordan Love played better in the second half. Adjustments were made. It seems like the Lions, they weren't blitzing on Thursday night. They didn't even need to because they were getting such pressure. But it seems like they just kind of backed off a little. And Dan Campbell even said at the halftime he was a little bit nervous about his players having the same energy that they had coming into that game, having that big lead going into the half. They had like a 24-point lead. It was insane. 24, 21, like a 21-point lead. And then Campbell was a little bit nervous about his guys not having the same type of energy coming out. So it looks like the energy wasn't there really. Third quarter, it looks like they played a little bit off. They weren't as aggressive on offense. And I get it. You're trying to just run the clock out. Anything can happen, though. Because there was a point in that game where if Quay Walker wouldn't have done that, it would have been a 13-point lead. It would have been a 13-point lead for the Lions with 8 minutes to go. So, Jordan Love kind of came out right away. Then the flags started coming out. You started seeing the flags coming out. You saw a horrible call against Andy Hutchinson with hands to the face, where clearly his mitt was right on the guy's jersey and pushing up this way. So it would have been another hands to the face in Green Bay. Go figure. Which was horrible. It was a horrible call. It wasn't even close. And then they called a 15-yard penalty on Alec Anzalone, which I thought was a really bad call too, because they called helmet to helmet. Even the TV ref, I can't remember the guy's name. Can't remember the guy's name. I really can't. I think he was even part of that Lions fiasco against the Cowboys years ago. But he even said, he goes, this is not a good call. He goes, the helmet, he goes, he was leading with the shoulder. It was incidental. He goes, usually that's not called. He goes, if he was leading with the helmet, it's a different story. But he came in with the shoulder, made a little bit of contact with the helmet on the other player's helmet. He goes, usually that's not called. He's like, but it is bang, bang. He goes, I wouldn't have called that. He goes, it didn't look like a penalty because he was leading with the shoulder. You could tell that he's coming in with the shoulder. So they called those two 15-yard penalties, 10, 15-yard penalties, whatever they are. And then you can kind of sense it a little bit. The Packers came down, scored. Lions came out with a 3-and-out. Packers came down, put 3 on a board, I believe it was. And then you're like, uh-oh, like here we go. This, another touchdown. I felt another touchdown was in there somewhere. It was literally only like a 10-point lead. It was like a 10-point lead from 21 to 10. So it was like, whoa, what's going on here? And then Quay Walker made that mistake, and then the Lions went up, and then it went up a little bit bigger than that, and the Lions pulled it through. But the third quarter was kind of like that. Fourth quarter, they kind of geared it down a little bit, or geared it up, whatever, and played better football. But you got to put your foot on the gas, man. This is the NFL. Anything could happen. And we've seen this happen to Detroit numerous times. SOL would have been huge if this would have happened, but I can't talk about that because it wasn't SOL, but a little bit of a scare. But it was domination, I thought, for pretty much 3 quarters. Two and a half, if you want to call it, 3 quarters, we'll say. Pretty much domination. It was just, it was an ass kicking by the Detroit Lions. And it was a good game, man. Dan Campbell has now beat the Green Bay Packers 4 times. I believe it's 4 in a row now. This is 4 in a row that the Packers have lost to the Detroit Lions. And, all Packer fans want to talk about is overall record. That's not what the Lions are trying to achieve here. We're not chasing that record. That record is gigantic. It's like, why would we even care about that? talking about the past, and that's fine, man. Talking about the past, we've been shit for so long. We've been garbage, no good. We haven't won the division in 93 years, and I mean since 93, whatever it was, and never won the North. We've won the Central before back then. Keep talking about it, man. The Lions, I think, they still got a lot of stuff to clean up, but it was a really good game. They looked really good. They just really did. They're looking efficient. I was very impressed on the road with Goff and the offense. Goff made some nice throws. He didn't have any gaudy numbers out there, but he was just playing good. Because after the first pick, you're like, oh no. And then he showed why he's QB1 right now. He stuck it in there. He didn't let it bother him. There's so much time left on the football field. Dude, what's the point getting mad about it, right? So, and then they just played well. Run offense was fantastic. Run defense was even better. And even the secondary stepped up and made some plays as well, too. Some pass deflects, some interceptions. Turnovers are key. So that's why we won this football game, man. We played an efficient game. Defense stepped up big time 2 in a row. So that's it, guys. 34-20, Detroit Lions, 3-1 overall record. They are currently in first place with about 1 quarter of football left. Lots of time here. Guys, there's so much football left. It's unbelievable. 13 games. So, there's a lot of ball left, but we have a 10-day rest. So do the Packers. Our next game is at home at Ford Field on week 5. And Carolina Panthers come to town, and they are currently 0-3. They play this Sunday. I think they play the Vikings, I think. I'm pretty sure they play the Vikings, so they could be an 0-4 coming in. Andy Dalton being the quarterback is a Bryce Young. I think Young's back, even though Dalton looked okay last week. Threw for 300-something yards and a couple touchdowns, I believe. But, the Panthers are just a bad football team. They're just not – they're not the same Panthers they were a year ago. Even though they weren't that good last year, but they did kill us. And revenge game. So October 8th, next game at home versus the Carolina Panthers. And I will be there. I am going to be there. And it should be fun. 10 days rest. So that's it, guys. 34-20 Detroit Lions. Big win for the Leos. First place in the division. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button at the bottom right. Don't forget the notification bell up top. Don't forget to like, comment, share this out. Appreciate it, guys. Sorry for the delay on the aftermath. It is what it is. Can't help it. So, have a good one, guys. Peace out. Go Lions, one pride. Boom. Let's go.